The Tesla stock is a bubble, same like Bitcoin was a couple of years ago. Now this statement is all around the internet because Tesla stock just rose so much so quick that it's very comparable from the chart that Bitcoin had a couple of years ago. Now let's have a look. If you're just looking into the chart of Bitcoin here, you see that within like 2 short years the price of Bitcoin rose 1,400%. Actually, it was not even 2 years, it was just 1 year. Yeah, so if we are looking back 2 years, then you can see that actually the price rose 3,300%. So actually you can see the chart looks like the hockey stick and straight up almost touching the roof of the chart. But actually, if you are now looking into the Tesla chart, this looks very familiar. As you can see here, you have this typical Tesla hockey stick now, as you can see, and the Tesla stock just raised over $960, almost $970 per share just a couple of days ago. Now, is this really a bubble? We don't know. If there's a crash coming, we also don't know, and nobody can say that. But what it would really take for Tesla to have a stock price of $20,000, because this was the Bitcoin price just a couple of years ago when the highs were touched, and therefore let's have a look.
Wolf of Dubai.
Okay, so let's have a look first on the all-time highs. This is the all-time high is always the highest point of a stock or a price for a currency, which would be the asset of Bitcoin. And the highest point for Tesla stock was almost at $970. So let's say for sake of easy calculation, $1,000. Now the Bitcoin price was almost $20,000, which is 20 times more than Tesla was its all-time high, and therefore you see there's still a lot and room to grow to this particular number. But actually, if you look into the numbers, it's not that far away. So let's have a look into the numbers that currently Tesla is producing. When we will talk about the revenue, we will talk about the growth rate as well as the market cap, and all about it now in the next section of this vlog. So the market cap, and this can change any minute because this is just the share price times the shares, and this is the market cap currently for Tesla on the stock market, and this is $140 billion. Now with every single digit of percentage up or down, this can change quite quickly, but as of this recording, it's around $140 billion. Now this is approximately the value of Netflix as well, and revenue wise we are about $24 billion here. The growth of the company is about 50% year over year, which is ridiculous. A really great growth story for all the Tesla investors out there, and the stock is around $770 per share. And the cars produced this year and delivered was 367,000 cars, a new record for Tesla. Now, to see how Tesla can achieve and when it can achieve the price of Bitcoin, I will assume two things. Now there's the growth, which is 50%. I will assume this for the next years because there's the factors that even maybe outgrow the 50%. I think over the last 5 years on average it was even 53%, and it's keep on growing that number, so we can assume this for the next years, and maybe through parts like new products or more capacity in the gigafactories, this can even be even faster. So I think to have a fair point here to one metric will be the 50%. And the second metric that we will agree on to calculate this further will be that the relation between market cap and revenue and revenue with cars and so on will be the same, just to easy calculate what comes up for Tesla. Let's see where we are 5 years from now. It would be 2025 and Tesla would have grown 5 times 50% and we would be at a market cap of $1.06 trillion. This is actually the market cap of a company like Apple, and we would have a revenue of $182 billion. Now this can be much more depending how effective Tesla can work and how fast they can build the solar business, the energy business. And to compare this, for example, Apple with above $1 trillion valuation is making $260 billion revenue per year, which is an outrageous number to think about even. But Apple lost or declined 2% of its year-over-year revenue, so it's not a growth story per se intact, but still a very big giant and stable stock to invest in. However, you see, if a growth is still there like 50%, you can assume that the revenue and the market cap can be much more different. For example, just Beyond Meat, one of the biggest growth stories currently on the stock market, is valued a much bigger multiple of revenue as per their market cap, because there's so much room to grow. And same for Tesla. If they keep on growing these numbers, then more and more investors will look to have a piece of this Tesla pie for sure. Now the stock at this point of time, 2025, could be already at $5,847, and cars could be delivered that year at 2.8 million cars. Now this seems to be a lot, but compared to other car manufacturers, this is still minor. About 95 million cars are produced and delivered to customers just every single year. So this would be just a microscopic market share of all cars out there. And we have to also understand that much more of the cars in the future will be electric, and therefore the market share and demand for these electric cars will be much higher as it is for the 95 million cars. Now, looking at this, we are still lots and lots away of the $20,000 mark for the Tesla stock, but you have to consider the following. Now we are entering the stage of exponential growth. Now imagine the following: if you grow from $1 to $1.50 and then 50% on that, then you would not grow another 50 cents, but you would grow 75 cents. So you would have $2.25. So the 50% is calculated on an always different and bigger number, and therefore it's basically like a little snowball that becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's maybe the biggest company in the world. Now, let's have a look when this would be then resulting in Tesla stock being equivalent of the all-time high of Bitcoin, $20,000 per share, equivalent to the Bitcoin price a couple of years ago, and in the 8th year. Now, if we are looking into that, the market cap by then would be at $3.58 trillion, a revenue number of $614 billion. Then the stock price would reach about $19,733,000, which would be absolutely ludicrous. And the cars that Tesla would put on the road by then, and don't forget, they are producing more and more Model 3s and also the Model Y, which is also a mass market product, even bigger market than S, X and 3 combined. The Cybertruck is coming, the semi-truck is coming, and the new leaked car, smaller car for the Chinese market and produced in China to the world, a smaller version of the Model 3 is coming to launch, and therefore these numbers can happen and will happen at one point of time. And if you consider this is just 10% of the market share of all cars produced and delivered in 1 year. And by 2028, we can consider that most of the 95 million cars will be electric, because this will be the future. Also, more and more governments restrict the gasoline gasoline cars. For example, London or UK just announced that from 2035 no gasoline cars will be allowed on the street. Now this is big. This is big news for electric car manufacturers. And now you are probably sitting in front of your computer or your iPhone in the hand, and first what you think is, should I subscribe to this channel? And yes, you should do, because we are talking every single day about the stock market and stocks, so make sure to not miss any other episode from today. Now on the other hand, you are saying, hey, maybe the growth rate of 50% is unsustainable, guys. This company cannot grow so fast. Now think about the following: Amazon until now, and they are making billions of dollars of revenue, are growing about 30% per year. So even these big companies have the growth potential, and the transportation revolution can even be bigger than the e-commerce revolution, what they did to retail. Now let's have a look what will be the growth for Tesla in a couple of years, and supported by Q4 numbers. That was in the Q4 earnings report. For example, the energy sector is currently growing 136% year over year. This is crazy, guys. This is absolutely crazy, and this is, as per Elon Musk, bigger than the car business, or even much bigger. And therefore he's also saying that he thinks that he can put 20 million in like 10 years, 20 million cars on the road per year. This means that in 8 years the 10 million is not like a crazy number. And also the Model 3 alone, year over year growth 46%, which is also absolutely crazy. Therefore all of this growth can definitely happen and accelerate, because we can see that currently, as of this state, just one factory producing this 367 cars, and they are producing also the S and X, which is much difficult to produce rather than the only Model 3s. And therefore think about, in 8 years they will have at least 3 more factories to have to at the highest capacity. This will be the Gigafactory in Germany, the Gigafactory in Shanghai, and the Gigafactory in Texas. So make sure to stay tuned, because this will be hell of the ride. You will be here from the very beginning, and if you followed since the summer, since the beginning of this channel, you know that I pushed for Tesla stock because I just see so much potential in that, and therefore make sure to stay tuned in the next couple of weeks.